Arterial diseases. Surgical anatomy of thoracic outlet. Thoracic outlet is bounded by manubrium sternum in front, spine posteriorly, and the first rib laterally. At the superior aperture of thorax subclavian vessels, brachial plexus traverse the cervicoaxillary canal to reach the upper limb. Cervicoaxillary canal is divided into proximal costoclavicular space and distal axilla, divided by first rib. Costoclavicular space is bounded superiorly by clavicle, inferiorly by first rib, anteromedially by the costoclavicular ligament, and posterolaterally by scalenus medius muscle along with long thoracic nerve. Scalenus anticus muscle divides the costoclavicular space into two compartments, the anterior one containing subclavian vein and the posterior one containing subclavian artery and brachial plexus. This posterior compartment is called a scalene triangle bounded by scalenus anticus anteriorly, scalenus medius posteriorly, and the first rib inferiorly. Cervical rib narrows this triangle and causes compressive features of the C8, T1 nerve roots and subclavian artery. Anything that narrows costoclavicular space causes thoracic outlet syndrome. Arteries of upper limb. Right subclavian artery begins from brachiocephalic trunk, a nominate artery, whereas left subclavian artery arises directly from the arch of aorta. From underneath the sternoclavicular joint, artery arches over the pleura and apex of lung about 2.5 cm above the clavicle and then reaches the lateral border of first rib to continue as axillary artery. Subclavian artery is divided into three parts by scalenus anterior muscle. Axillary artery is divided into three parts by pectoralis minor muscle. At the lower border of teres major muscle it enters the arm and continues as brachial artery. About 2.5 cm below the crease of the elbow joint, it bifurcates. Surgical anatomy of thoracic outlet. Thoracic outlet is bounded posteriorly, and the first rib laterally. At the superior aperture of into radial and ulnar arteries which run in the forearm. Ulnar artery forms the superficial palmar arch which is completed by superficial palmar branch of radial artery. Radial artery after passing through the anatomical snuff box enters the dorsum of hand and first intermetacarpal space to form deep palmar arch. It is completed by deep palmar branch of ulnar artery and is 1 cm proximal to superficial palmar arch. Arteries of lower limb abdominal aorta bifurcates at the level of fourth lumbar vertebra, corresponds to the level of the umbilicus in anterior abdominal wall, into two common iliac arteries. Common iliac artery is about 5 cm in length, passes downward and laterally, and at the level of lumbosacral intervertebral disc, anterior to sacroiliac joint, it divides into external and internal iliac arteries. Internal iliac artery supplies pelvic organs. External iliac artery continues as common femoral artery at the level of inguinal ligament. About 5 cm below the inguinal ligament, common femoral. Divides into superficial femoral and deep femoral, profunda femoris, arteries. Deep femoral artery provides collateral circulation around the knee joint and also communicates above with gluteal vessels to maintain collateral circulation around the gluteal region. Superficial femoral artery at the hiatus in the adductor magnus continues as popliteal artery up to the inferior angle of the popliteal fossa where it divides into anterior and posterior tibial arteries. Anterior tibial artery supplies anterior compartment of leg and ankle, continues as dorsalis pedis artery which forms dorsal arterial arch of the foot. Posterior tibial artery supplies posterior compartment of leg and ends as medial and lateral plantar arteries which forms plantar arterial arch of the foot. Posterior tibial artery gives peroneal artery which runs close to fibula supplying calf muscles. CT angiogram of aortoiliac segment showing aortoiliac block due to atherosclerosis. Collaterals are also well developed.